Alright, so we're gonna start. Welcome. Hello. Fucking, I'm not good at this shit. Intros are
No one
not my
is.
strong point. I kind of just like fucking chuck it in somewhere. Hey, fuck. Welcome back to a little help here, please.
Bro, we
God
need to
damn.
add this is a fucking blooper reel. It'd be so
God,
funny.
dude, what, bro? What the fuck do I even do for this intro, man?
I got no fucking idea.
Oh, god damn, this is already horribly going. I mean, going horribly. Fuck! Welcome back to another, it's a very special episode. Ah, fuck it, we'll roll with that. Episode of the new podcast, the Grim Yard podcast on the Grim Ripper channel. Today, with my lovely co-host, Iron, we'll be talking about the the only and definitively correct theory for Helldivers is that it shares a universe with Deep Rock Galactic. Now, that sounds fucking insane, because it is. But you have to admit, the Terminids are pretty similar to the Tyranids. No, not Tyranids. Glyphids.
One.
Bro,
There you go.
I'm getting Warhammer and Deep Rock and Helldivers confused already. Oh god, they're all the same thing. Anyway, so the reason why they're so similar is because they're from the same home planet. Because if you think about it, where did the Terminids come from? We don't know. I think. I don't know. I don't know about Helldivers 1 lore. I don't know about Helldivers 2 lore. Anyway, ignoring the fact that this is going off of half knowledge, the Terminids are very obviously the Glyphids. Like, they have the same exact, like, what do you call it? Features and proportions, as one would put it. Example, fuck are what even are the types of Terminids even called? I know there's Chargers and Hunters and Stalkers, but that's in Bile Titan, but that's basically it. What are the other guys called?
Uh, yeah, it's
Oh god, no,
it's weird.
oh god, no.
You've
Hold
got spitter. You've got bile spitters. There's another version of the spitter which is a bit different.
on, I'm pulling up both wikis to get the enemy types.
You basically
Yeah,
need
hold on,
to
yeah, hold
assume.
on. Oh god. Slight technical issues here. All right, cool. Yes. All right. Yes. 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 All right. Cool. Hold up. Okay. So there are. Hold up. Oh fucking hell no. No. Oh my god. Okay. So. Uh. Wow. There are not a lot of fucking pitches. God damn it, Ministry of Defense. I mean. Uh. Okay. So. Damn, this really is our first podcast, isn't it? God damn, this is going
Yeah,
this is going
this is going to shit.
absolutely swimmingly, all right. Yeah.
Time
So
to drink definitely unbranded black looking drink that is of caramel coloring and flavoring.
yes, yes, indeed. Uh, okay. So the scavenger terminid is very very close in resemblance to the glyphid swarmers and glyphid spawn, which are the weakest of all the types. Because they're like
Yes.
tiny as. Actually, hold on. Are those the tiny ones? No.
I mean,
Which are the?
to be fair,
Actually, yeah, no, yeah, yeah,
the
no.
swarmers die in one shot as well. So
Yeah. I mean, you could also say that they're very in common with the grunts as well, being the normal like the base level ones instead of like the weak level ones. But then you would probably
Yeah,
also go into the fact that the the warriors the warriors are very much the slashers because of the fact that they
yeah,
both have bladed appendages. And
yeah,
the glyphid guards are very much hive guards. I'm pretty sure are the ones that have the armor on them.
yeah. They've got armored front legs,
Yeah.
which is the same thing that
The guard
the
does,
the Glyphid guards have.
and they have the hunters. Now the hunters are a weird one because I don't think uh there are any glyphids that are able to like jump at you that I currently know of.
Not at the moment.
I mean, the closest one might be the stingtail if you really think about it, because it pulls you in,
I was gonna
basically.
say it'd be Stingtail or it'd be a mutation of the Grunt,
Yeah,
like a separate mutation that
and
hasn't like
yeah, like
hasn't been shown off yet.
yeah. So like the whole theory behind why they're the same is because a lot of again, like I said, like the grunts, the slashes, the guards, and whatnot, all very common. We even have like exploders and septic spreaders, which are very similar to the bile spitter and what's the one that explodes again? I forgot. There's one that does actually no. Actually yeah, no, the bile spitter I'm pretty sure. It also explodes if you're close to it and you hit it. So it's like that's
Yeah,
like a mix of the exploder and the septic spreader, which both spew out the toxic like stuff at you. And
yeah,
then you have the bile spewer, which is essentially just the Praetorian, which also like spews stuff at you, but it's a bigger version of it.
hmm.
And then you have the bit. The fuck is there? Wait, when the what? Oh yeah, no, I think. Oh yeah, no, I remember. I was so confused for a second. You have like the again like the charger would probably be the oppressor, or you could also say that the actually that brings up a very good question. Why are
Hmm.
like there so many like direct comparisons between the two? I mean, I get
Yeah.
that's what we're going for is the reason as to that's why this thing's so valid
Yeah.
because it seems that going
Actually, you
off
know
of
what I'm just thinking of actually?
what
So the oppressors are a larger and more armored version of the Praetorians
yeah
in DRG. The Chargers could be a further
evolution of the bile
evolution.
spewer, or maybe they're actually yeah no that does
Because
seem
the Charger being like, because you've got Praetorian, which you got Praetorian and Oppressor, which look very similar. One's just more armored and all that. They've got the same weak spot, which is on their ass. Uh,
so does like most of the high ranking glyphids.
yeah, and
And
then you've
and
got
that also does check out for a lot of the terminals as well. Is that the back of
yeah,
them actually is a major weak spot for like the
yeah. Uh, but then with the Charger in Helldivers and all that, like, sure, the quickest way to kill them is to blow off the armor on their legs and all that. But beyond that, what weak spots do you have?
oh my
Directly in the
god wait
face.
I just realized
Like
actually
it's either directly in the face, which is a super small hurt box, or it's on the ass.
wait I also just realized that the the bile spitters, which are the small ones that give you slowdown, are basically web spitters. And
Yeah,
then you have the bile warrior, which is the like the larger version of the tiny ones. That's the acid spitter. Then you have the
yeah,
bile spewer, which is the septic spreader. Then you have the I mean, again, the bile spewer could then also be another version of the Praetorian, with the septic spreader being a more distant version, while the Praetorian being a more close-up version, which is what they do. The
yeah,
Praetorians get in your face, then spew at you, while the septic spreaders spew at you from a far distance, which is what the bile spewers do. They also go into your face and shoot them from afar.
Yeah.
And then and then the oppressor. The oppressor is definitely a a version of the charger and behemoth. With I think the oppressor being more of a charger makes more sense, while the
Yeah.
behemoth is definitely a glyphid dreadnought.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, it's that sort of case of, especially with the Bio Titan. I feel like the Bio Titan would definitely be a dreadnought.
No,
Like,
I think the dreadnought hive guard is the larger version of the normal dreadnought.
yeah,
So I would say that the actually wait, which one is the larger one?
yeah.
Yeah, no,
The
the
Charger
hive
could be an
guard
offset of that type of dreadnought.
the dreadnought hive guard is definitely in line with a. Well, actually, the Bile Titan's a very unique one, considering the fact that again, going off of they are coming from the same planet.
Yeah.
The
Well,
Glyphids
okay.
being the
So
Glyphids being the underground species of Terminids
yeah,
makes sense as to why they don't have a Bile Titan direct counterpart. The Bile Titan
yeah.
is very much
So
needing an open area.
yeah. So here's one thing I'll say: the base dreadnought in DRG is the youngest of the dreadnoughts.
Yes, that would be a
The
Charger.
twin, yeah, the twin dreadnoughts are, just twins.
Dreadnought, Lacerator, and Airbla. Arbalest.
Arbalest, Arbalest, yeah.
Arbalest, yeah.
Which, you could see that as like they're like a split twin sort of thing. They're technically the same dreadnought, but they're split in a way that each of them specialize in different ranges.
Yeah.
One has one is like evolving to be more like close range melee, while another one more sits at the back, but they can work with each other really well because they're twins.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the Hive Guard, who, at least for me, is the direct, it's like the direct route which the Dreadnought will take.
Yeah, so it goes like Scavenger, Warrior, Hive Guard, Charger, Behemoth.
Yeah. And then the Bile Titan could be, uh, well, I mean, it's a Bile Spitter.
Yeah,
Like,
Bile
it could
Spitter
be
to
a Bile
Bile
Spitter
Warrior
but
to
grown
Bile
up.
Spewer to Bile Titan.
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot. Like I said, the above ground, the again, like the Glyphids are the underground like species of Terminids, while the Terminids
Yeah.
are the above ground that dominate the surface of Hoxies,
Yeah.
while the
But
Glyphids
you've
are
also got
all
to realize as well that
underground.
the dwarves are smaller.
Exactly.
If you get up next to a Biospewer or like any of like a Charger or something in Helldivers, they are massive
Yeah,
compared to
because
a regular Helldiver.
in
And
DRG,
when
because you're a
and yeah,
dwarf, you're more suited for the smaller and more compact cave systems of
yeah,
Hoxies,
but it's
which
also
is
the fact of, if you go for a direct size comparison, seeing dwarves and Helldivers as the same height, then the Helldivers monsters are a lot bigger. But if you actually take into account the size difference between them, they're a lot closer in size than you think they are. Because like the dreadnoughts in DRG are massive. They are very big creatures. If you get a teammate to stand even next to the egg, it, in lack of better words, literally dwarfs them in size. And so do the dreadnoughts that come out of them. And when you carry that over to Helldivers, taking into account the size difference between Helldivers and Dwarves, the size difference is very similar between the two.
yeah. So I'm looking through now, and it seems as if the dwarves are around what I'm seeing people like making the match be is around 2 to 4 feet tall. So considering
Yeah.
that average height for human people, which is what Helldivers are, is around 5'10", to 5'11" for adult men, which is what most
And
Helldivers
that's
are.
just on average.
Yeah, that's the average amount. So with that being like with that metric of like 2 to 3 feet tall for a dwarf and like 5'10" to like 6 foot for humans, it means that the glyphids are a lot smaller and the caves of Hoxies are a lot smaller than you would actually think they would be.
Yet
Because
they
like
are
yeah, so
very small.
that's
If
why
yeah, if a normal human were to go into the same cave systems that the dwarves are, they would
yeah,
not
yeah,
be able to
they would
move.
not be good. They would do very well in there. So that's why I'm like saying that there's not a lot of direct connections between the larger of the species on both ends because they're more so suited for the like again, all the dreadnoughts are really good at like digging into the ground, which is something that the Terminids are very much not proficient at. Except
Yeah.
I think there's only one I think that actually can burrow, which is I think the warrior, if I'm correct.
Hmm.
Uh, I do believe. Hold up. Hmm. I don't know, but I did. I'm pretty sure there is one that can like dig underground and pop up at you, but like that would like make a lot more sense as there's another type of there's another very how do I say this good reason as to why the entire of the like glyphids are very heavily reliant on the like the dreadnoughts and the oppressors being their highest ranking instead of with
Hmm.
terminids the high ranks are like the behemoths, the bile spewers, the bile titans, the brood mothers, like all
Yeah.
those like vastly increased in size compared to their shorter counterparts, which very much
Yeah.
gives the entire feeling that the reason the glyphids are so easy to be taken down by mere dwarfs is the
Yeah.
fact that they weren't extremely built around fighting things off on their home planet because they're all one big
Yeah.
species. So that's why a lot of the smaller ones are so weak and unarmored, with the only
Yeah.
exceptions really
Also,
being the guards and the
one
Praetorians.
thing I just remembered as well. Now that we've got new flying enemies in Helldivers, you can then make a comparison to the Mactera. Because the Mactera and
True.
DRG are your like resident flying enemies.
True.
And you get a bunch of all different sizes and all that, but they're still small enough to fit into the cave systems and all that. And you do get Mactera swarms where instead of having a ton of glyphids come after you, it's a lot more
Yeah,
of the
like
Mactera.
the most similar like connection I can see between the Shriekers and the Mactera are probably the is that the um this is the Trijaw, I'm pretty sure it is, which is the one that is like the most offensive, I guess you could say. That isn't like
Hmm.
directly. Yeah, there's the goo bomber, which we don't really have a direct correlation to yet, as there is no like bile sh- bile shriekers. Oh god, that would suck.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely terrified at the concept of a bile shrieker. Because
Yeah.
again, there was there was like a thing going around on Twitter. I've been looking around on Twitter, and there's this one Twitter account which I don't know. Is it the official? They don't have an official Helldivers 2 Twitter, do they?
They do, but people tend to copy it.
No, yeah. It was the official one. It was Helldiver alerts. I'm pretty sure. and there was a showcase of elemental bugs. There was like a
I
arc bug.
think
There was like
no,
an
I
arc
think
bug.
Helldivers alerts. I think that's a fan account.
Is it?
I think the Helldivers alerts one is. People can bloody correct us in the
Yeah,
comments and
but
stuff, but like I'm
I did
pretty
see
sure it is.
I did see that Helldivers Alerts was like showcase. Was it Helldivers Alerts or was it the other? Oh no, there's four ones. There's Helldivers 2, Helldivers Alerts, Helldivers Updates, and Helldivers Media. It was either
Hmm.
alerts or updates that showed off elemental bugs, where it was an arc bug, and I think I saw a there was an arc bug and a fire bug. I'm pretty sure that
Hmm.
would showcase off. And if that is true, then that could bring a lot more backing to the what is it? The like again the one of the bugs that we haven't mentioned yet is the menace, which is a type of septic spreader that shoots like ice or like
Yeah.
the slowdown effect one, which could then lead into the fact of the reason why there isn't actually scratch that. I'm going to bring up why there are certain reasons as to the glyphids being a lot more like a lot less diverse than the terminids, which is
Hmm.
because of the environments in which they inhabit inside of Hoxies, which is different from the outside of Hoxies, which we see is like all but destroyed at this point, considering that it's fracturing everywhere, which is 100% a reason, which is 100% the work of either DRG themselves or Super Earth bombing the Terminid home planet,
Yeah.
thus making the surface inhabitable, meaning the Terminids, which are the surface species, had to go off and like invade other planets to keep their part of the species alive, while the Glyphids were just being chilling down in the catacombs of the once lavish home planet,
Hmm.
which is again why there's with this I again would probably bring into the lore of the Hoxies in general, being that it was either the attack from an attack from DRG or Super Earth, which then absolutely destroyed the surface, meaning that the Terminid had to dip because of the events of Helldivers 1, where the Terminids were like, oh yo, let's just like go check out these other places. And then Super was like, liberation. And they're like, oh god. And then Super was like, home planet, let's bomb it. And so they did. But then they didn't realize that there's a different species underground, being the Glyphids. Which, not different species, more like a deviation of the species. Being two, like the Glyphids and the Terminids coming from the same ancestor, but splitting off from one being surface dwelling while the other one being ground dwelling. And then once they found out about the Glyphids, they then created DRG and then used DRG as a way to then go into Hoxies, get its resources, find out more about it, and then, using that information, fight off the Terminids even better using their own planet's resources.
Hmm.
So that's why they're so they're so different now, is because they probably have evolved a lot more from the course of them being separated compared to when they were together. That's how like the Mactera came to be, because they aren't classified as glyphids, but they're definitely some deviation of the same species,
Yeah.
along with the own plant life coming alive with the Stabavine, which I'm pretty sure doesn't isn't like is it considered a it doesn't say it's considered a other species and it's not been defined as. So I'm guessing, going off of the area that they spawn in, the plant life decided with like, wait a second, what's gonna happen to us once everything else is dead? So
Yeah.
they started to develop like tactics to like kill and eat glyphids as a way of, the glyphids don't just eating all the plants and killing them out.
Yeah.
And in turn,
Self-defense
yeah,
system.
exactly. In turn, creating a cycle, which then the dwarves came in and was like, why is everything here dangerous as hell? Because again, once the surface was destroyed, everything else had to adapt around the fact that there was a lot less like food to go around because the plant life up top was dead. So the plant life underground had to be like, fine, I'll do it myself. Which is why, again, they don't have very heavily armored things to help like avoid the whole thing and to be not intimidating. But then still having higher up rank of like fully armored glyphids being like there to
Mm.
provide for everyone else. And in doing so, becoming smaller to then help reduce food waste. While the Terminids, on the other hand, they were just going ham. They were just going planet to planet, killing everything they could, getting bigger and stronger, and then just evolving more and more to then become
Yeah.
just absolute monsters. Like Bile Titans, absolute beasts, Hive Lords, which haven't been added to Helldivers 2 as of this, but we pretty sure they are coming, considering the fact that they are Hive Lord like sheds all over the place. The brood
Mm.
mothers are definitely a great candidate for being a evolved like a brood nexus, but
Yeah.
instead of it being like a pure nest, since they were up on the surface, there was a lot more like surface area to go through. So they, instead of like building a nest to be where they just became the nest as a brood mother, just summoning or creating things whenever they needed to,
Yeah.
which then goes back into the Shrieker, as they didn't really need any form of aerial support or any like aerial evolution until we started fighting them with like again flamethrowers and like a lot more ground orientated defenses, while we had not much for the air other than like machine gun turrets and a couple like marksman rifles. But other than that, we
Mm.
weren't really defended up on the aerial side. So that's why they had to evolve into shriekers. While the dwarves, being in super compact cave systems, don't have that much struggle against aerial enemies, while still having enough struggle for them to be around still, as to why they haven't just de-evolved back. Because
Yeah.
this is definitely taking place over a long period of time, considering the first, second Helldivers and the DRG. We don't know how long. I don't. Do we know how long the DRG Corporation has been around for?
Uh,
Because
maybe somewhere on the wiki, but I don't know.
if they've been around, if because like this is a very easy way to debunk whether Super Earth made DRG to go to the homeplanet is if DRG existed before the first Galactic War.
Hmm.
But then again, another reasoning between why DRG is considered like very closely related to Helldivers is the fact that, again, just not just the Terminids. There's again, I said before, I mixed up the glyphids with the Tyranids from Warhammer. There's a lot of big scary bug equal bad enemy alien kill kill kill. But
Hmm.
the reason is because DRG has a very corporate and like capitalist
Yeah.
meaning behind it all, which then bleeds
Yeah.
into the whole democracy fighting for your planet slash galaxy slash species, which would lead into the whole connective thing, being that the
Yeah.
dwarves, which we're going off of being as a different race of humans on
Hmm.
Super Earth, were then shipped off for their smaller stature, their the more gruff, rough and tumble way of culture and whatnot. Then they were used
Yeah.
as a mining force in. Then they just kept going on from there. It's like they developed more and
Yeah.
more tech, which originated from Super Earth stuff, which is why the dwarves
Hmm.
have laser equipment and whatnot, while over on Super Earth we're only
Hmm.
like just now getting that stuff. But
Yeah.
that leads into the fact that there's another group of people on Hoxie's, the rival company,
Yeah.
which pretty obviously look very similar to the automatons.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that the automatons mainly have more red focused color scheme, while the rival
Hmm.
company is very orange orientated, like orange and red orientated, which
Yeah, like a subset of the
yeah,
automatons.
designed to go infiltrate the Terminids, which they are also fighting in the Galactic War, as they're not like on each other's side. Because like, oh, if the
Yeah.
automatons won against Super Earth, oops, the Terminids are still there, it's gonna kill them. So because the automatons are robots, they're smart, they can do things. They're like, Terminid, home planet, resources, defeat. Then they made their own mining company to then
Yeah.
collect data. Like they even made a nemesis. They made the caretaker, which is like a data center,
Yeah.
which then brings into the whole. The automatons were always going to try and do everything they could to win, just like Super Earth,
Yeah.
including invading a home planet,
Yeah.
which was already
It's also
been.
that case as well of like we collect the data from caretakers, but we don't know what's on there.
It could be like many things. It could be like ways, like new ways to use resources to destroy the glyphids slash terminids, or it could be
Yeah.
their own secrets that we're stealing. That's why, again, there's more connection. Where is the Ministry of the Ministry of Truth getting all these far and outlandish information from, like the automatons and whatnot and the
Hmm.
terminids? Where are they getting all these again, the pesticide? Where did they come up with that? Like
Yeah,
what
like the
resources?
automatons might have been the first ones to come up with that
Yeah,
stuff,
but what
and then
resources is it made of?
through
Because it's said to be
yeah,
completely 100% safe for humans, but super deadly to terminids. But what on Earth or anywhere in the galaxy haven't they already been to find something like
hmm,
that? Because in the Helldivers, after Helldivers 1, the entire galaxy was taken over. It was completely inhabited. You'd think they would have found a pesticide for terminids ages ago, but they
yeah,
didn't.
just in case sort of thing of
Exactly.
like sure, like they had enslaved the entirety of the Terminid race to harvest for oils, but you still think they would have a backup like pesticide plan in case an outbreak of Terminids happened. And
Exactly.
once it does happen, it takes a bit, but eventually they do get it. But either they already had this stuff in research and they only just got it done, or they got the data for it from somewhere else.
That's why the automatons are coming into the mix because the DRG has been feeding automaton information and their research from Hoxie's back to Super Earth for money,
Potentially
profit, and
unknowingly, even.
like
Or at least for the working class dwarves.
yeah, the working class
Definitely,
dwarves
like,
don't know what they're doing. All they know is that they have
no.
to mine. They get money for it. They just want to get paid so they can afford beer and fancy outfits.
Pretty
But the
much, yeah.
higher ups
So,
are
yeah.
feeding a war effort.
Without the working class knowing,
Exactly, and that's
this is that
why
very thing.
That's why the
And
automatons being so prevalent as a rival mining company is used as a
yeah,
front for, yo, we're fighting in a war against these guys. We're gonna steal all their data to then use to kill them. So they're using it as
yeah,
a front instead of it being, oh, these guys are war enemies. Defeat them and take their data to use against them. They're like, it's a rival mining company. We're using their mining secrets to get more profit, which is what they would
mm,
believe as, what they've been told their job is. Which is very different from what Super Earth is doing in the fact that they're keeping things secret, but not so secret that the people are going to rise up against them for it. That's why the
yeah,
Ministry of Truth is so smart. While DRG is not worried about the dwarves rising up because they have no place to stand and fight against them for. Because again, they're
yeah,
all just in one massive giant space station, and where are they gonna go? So them using them lying to get workers to do things for them is very on brand for a disconnected offshoot of the Super Earth government, then slowly turning into more and more of a capitalist corporation as what DRG has become, but still not getting so corrupt that they think they can do whatever the hell they want on their own. They're still
yeah,
feeding the Super Earth government because where are they going to get all their like resources to live for other than Super Earth? So they're smart, but not too full of themselves. Which is why DRG is terrifying in the fact that if Super Earth did make it that way instead of them making their own rules, that means that Super Earth has been doing way more shady tactics than we've ever thought.
mm,
And it really does go to show that Super Earth might be trying to protect itself and its galaxy, but they also could be just in it for the money, the conquering, the everything like that,
yeah,
which very much does align with what society is now, which is a very political thing to say. Oh God, oh no, what have I done?
yeah. One thing I've been thinking of for a little bit of this chat is uh and as much as a lot of people don't really want to hear it, Super Earth is pretty fascist in the way it treats
Yeah,
other species
yeah.
that aren't human. So
Mm.
potentially what could have happened was they had the dwarves as more or less slaves sort of thing
Yeah,
for a while,
I
but then uh a sort of deal was struck where uh sure, you'd still have the workers and all that, but they would get better benefits, better beers, and actual pay to keep them working for them.
actual self-sufficiency
Uh,
instead of just relying
yeah,
on
and
if and
keep
when.
sort of thing of the dwarven population becomes its own sort of separate entity, but they will keep supplying Super Earth with materials.
Exactly.
Like any materials that they have will go to Super Earth. Sure, they'll have their own allocated amount to keep their production running and stuff, but a lot of the materials will be sent to Super Earth for various reasons. So while the dwarves are technically not slaves, they are effectively working for Super Earth no matter what happens because of a sort of deal in the background that we don't know of.
Yeah, that really does seem a lot like what happened with the dwarves being,
Yeah.
like I said, used as slaves and then sent off as working class in a different way as a bargain for their free quote unquote freedom.
Yeah. So the dwarves they love the beer, they love the pay, but they also love the mining part of it.
Yeah, their entire culture is surrounded by like being like rough, gruff, like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
They're
like
very like
they
in it for the
like
labor, but they
yeah,
don't do it because they hate it and they have to for pay. They do it because they love it, and it's just what makes them like
yeah.
enjoy themselves.
It makes them happy. It keeps them active. They enjoy the mining part of it. They enjoy the labor, the like the free beers, even like the craft beers that they bring in their own materials for. They love that stuff. So sure, like it gives them incentive to do it, but they're not doing it for the money or the beer. They're doing it because it's something they love. The money in that is just an extra
Which is
bonus they
why
get
I
on top of
think
it.
Super Earth did send them away, is because they knew that the dwarves loved mining and doing labor, but they didn't
Yeah,
like the fact that they were enslaved for that reason. They liked doing it like
yeah,
as their own thing. It was part of their culture,
yeah.
their entire like
Their yeah,
background.
their
But
culture is a culture of mining.
yeah,
It's a culture of being in the ground.
being
Yeah,
enslaved for your culture's significance is what made them work less and less on like Super Earth and the galaxy's planets.
yeah.
So that's
So they
why
yeah.
them
So
moving them
what could have
away.
happened? Yeah, what could have happened is once the deal was struck, Super Earth would have seen, hey, we're getting a lot more materials in. Maybe keeping those guys as slaves was a bad idea. Let's let them keep their sovereignty and all that because the deal says that they're going to keep supplying us with materials, and we're getting a lot more than when they were fully under our control.
Exactly, they're more productive as they're more self sufficient instead of being
Yeah,
forced into working for their
yeah. It's
king.
like that saying of like if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
That's what happened with the dwarves once they weren't enslaved anymore. Like sure they were already in a job they loved, but the conditions they were put through made them hate it. Once they were put into their own conditions, able to work their own way, like with with sovereignty, sure most of the materials are still getting sent off to Super Earth, but they've got sovereignty. They're
Yeah,
themselves, they can do what they want
which
as
is
long as
which
it
is
doesn't
very
break the
much
conditions of the deal.
along the lines of you can have the best job in the world, but if you have a bad management and a bad boss, it can make it all the worse.
Yeah, and sure, like mission control isn't the nicest person.
But they're not
Like
actively
if
hostile.
like even the dwarves talk shit about mission control. But like if you listen to some of the stuff that mission control says, even like the way his picture is and the way he talks, he sounds like someone who's gone through that stuff. He knows what you're
Yeah,
doing. Like he understands he understands all the jokes and all that. He understands everything. But because he's in a management position, he's more pushed he's trying to sort of push you along and be like,
yeah,
"Hey, you guys you guys should get back to work." Sort of thing. Not
exactly.
not as,
It's
"Hey, I'm telling you now, get back to work." It's
or
like,
you're fired,
"Hey,
or like, or we
yeah,
won't
it's
let you
like
back. It's
they're not going to fire the dwarves for goofing off, but it's the case of, hey, you guys are in a very dangerous place right now, and we kind
yeah,
of need those materials. Can you please hurry up?" Sort of thing. You can slack off if you want, you can have fun, you can dick around, but as long as you get the job done, we're happy.
yeah.
We're not going to fire you for goofing off. Just please get the job done.
Another big thing about the whole like Super Earth not like also that brings up why if they didn't like if the dwarves loved labor so much and like using like again the dwarves love their weaponry, they love all their guns and everything, so then
Yeah,
why weren't dwarves used as helldivers in a way, because like if you think about it, less resources put into like making suits of armor for every single Helldiver, because like they don't reuse stuff. They just let the Helldivers armor just like lay on the planet and just
Yeah,
brought away. So them using less resources to make more armor, like more like smaller weapons, like all that sort of. Wouldn't it be better if they made the dwarves their military force instead? But there's one major
that's the interesting
there's
part is the
one
fact
no no
that
no there's one major
uh,
problem with them becoming a military force. Their
mm,
culture. No
yeah,
dwarf left behind.
yeah, their culture does not fit. Like their motto doesn't fit well with the Helldiver motto.
Helldive was just like,
The
if you die, you did what you could, but we're not gonna care that you died.
Yeah, it's
You died
do
only
it
for us.
it's like you're expendable, but do your best.
Exactly. But in DRG, it's no dwarf left behind, and they will. And like, if you lose someone on like the way back, they will like not be happy about the mission at all. They will just
No, like even like you at times like you even kind like more or less get chewed out slightly.
And
Like
another thing is
not majorly, but like mission control will comment on the fact that you've like left people behind or you failed the mission.
exactly. But
Like sure, like they're still able to get you back to the ship and all that and get you healed and everything, but like that's extra resources they have to put in to keep you working, to keep you happy, to keep you going.
another big thing is I don't think Super Earth supplied DRG with their robots. I think they
No.
made them themselves. Because
Yeah,
why would Super Earth make semi-sentient robots that have
like
like
Molly, Doretta, and Bosco.
yeah, like they all have what appears to be a like conscious state of that they're on a job. They
Also, the
still have a
one
somewhat
of the
like
engineers' grenades takes the swarmer from the
exactly
rivals and reprograms them to be allies. Super F would never allow that under their rules.
exactly. So and Doretta is a big one. Doretta, if played well enough, you can have the same Doretta through multiple missions because you can take
Yeah,
back Doretta's head, which
yeah, you can take back Doretta's head, which is which is where like most of the computing power and all that is. So it's basically, hey, we like this robot, we're bringing her back. Like,
exactly
no dwarf left behind. What it that ends up turning into no one left
no
behind.
man left behind.
It doesn't matter if you are male, female, whatever. It
Man,
doesn't matter if you're
machine.
dwarf, human, machine,
If you're
bloody
part of
bug.
the company, you're all family.
If you are part of the company, you are family.
Which is exactly
And family
why
is never left
which is
behind.
exactly why Super Earth enslaved in the first place is because they knew that they could leverage that.
Hmm.
They could leverage that into being more effective workers.
Yeah. And not even just more effective, but very effective.
And
Their culture then their culture makes it where like they're going to go into the mines basically no matter what. I'm pretty sure if like most of management and all that didn't have like more important things to tend to, a, a bunch of them would probably be in the mines helping in one way or another.
I kind of want to move away from the whole dwarves are enslaved and like that sort of thing because
Yeah,
like we've talked about it for a while. But
we have.
again the whole the last bit the technology side of the things that definitely that Super Earth would not approve of is again a reason why the dwarves were such good candidates to be shipped off as a mining company is they
Yeah,
the again in a lot of we're just like I know we're saying a lot of stereotypes about dwarves, but that's because DRG plays straight into it for the funny,
yeah.
and that's why it's like so good. Because it's not like oh the dwarves are actually not as they are depicted normally. It's not a stereotype. They are full stereotype, and they go ham for it.
Oh yeah, they take the dwarven stereotype you hear from like the mythos and all that,
Yeah,
and they go nuts with it. They take it to the long end.
they
They take
take
it to the
dwarves to
deep end of the damn pool.
sci-fi. Like damn.
Yeah, they take it to the bloody deep end of the pool and then keep going.
And that's why the whole thing about dwarves are such incredible craftsmen and like blacksmith's work is
Yeah.
so prevalent. In fact, that it's literally the forge,
The
workbench.
engineer made a smart rifle out of scrap.
Yeah, the workbench is incredible, and that's why I think that Super Earth is trying to get their tech, but they aren't giving it to them. That's why we're so slow on the take of getting like plasma weapons and like laser weapons, is because the dwarves are still keeping that stuff to themselves for their culture. They like crafted these things with their bare
Yeah.
hands.
They don't want their technology to be like to be used in a way that isn't to like help with the mining effort of their culture.
That's why a lot of the technology that the dwarves have crafted is just from what I presume to be a lot of broken automaton bits and pieces. Is because
Yeah,
the automatons have been sending so many things like sniper turrets, the repulsion turrets, the burst turrets, the patrol bots. They have like all these things everywhere. They have the Nemesis was even designed to counter the dwarves by playing into
yeah,
their culture. Even the automatons understand how deep
yeah,
they care for their culture. And that's why
yeah,
they aren't giving their tech away, is because Super Earth might have supplied them with what they have. Like, yeah. But then they made their own. They went
yeah.
further.
They took what was given to them and they turned it into stuff that was much more suited for their culture, their role,
A
and
one
what
of
they
the
love.
one of the best examples I can give is the driller has a flamethrower, which is very obviously given to them by Super Earth, as
Yeah,
Super Earth has their own standard issue flamethrower. But then the engineer, which I'm just gonna guess the engineer made all of these because that's just the engineer's
yeah,
the one who does all that stuff. The driller was like, "Yo, what if we use the Glyphid's own sludge against them, and then boom, corrosive sludge pump, and then
yeah. Or even the
all
plasma pistol that Driller gets access
yeah,
to.
and then there's like there's a lot of like
There's an
ice
upgrade
caves.
for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Like
like
there is an
ice
upgrade
caves and
for it.
everything,
Yeah,
and then
but like
cryo
you've got an
cannon.
upgrade for the plasma pistol secondary, which is fin containment field, where uh, when you shoot out like a
Your
big
microphone just
orb like
jumped.
charge shot, yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine. Uh, when yeah, when you shoot out the big plasma ball, you can then shoot it with like conventional weaponry, another shot from the plasma pistol, basically anything, and it will implode the shot, which can mine minerals around it.
Yeah, so they've
They
used.
t- they they took a standard issue energy weapon
Actually,
and
I
they were
no,
able to convert it
it
into a
looks
mining
very
tool.
similar. Like the exact like size of it looks very similar and cobbled together version of the Subata, which is the standard issue gun that he gets.
Yeah, it's like it's like the mix of the Subata pistol that Driller comes standard issue with, but it's also because the engineer's got that big secondary weapon that shoots out the big like plasma
Yeah, the wave
lines.
cooker, which is
It's no, the wave cooker is its own thing. That's like a microwave gun.
yeah, the driller has the wave cooker secondary, which is very
Yeah,
weird in the fact that a lot of the secondaries for the characters are like follow a very like linear path of progression. Like again, the
yeah,
engineer goes from having a like standard shotgun to then having a electric SMG and then to having a smart rifle, which like yeah goes from like
yeah,
pump action, submachine gun, then electric submachine, then like
yeah,
more electric. Also, the smart
yeah,
rifle is considered a submachine gun weapon, huh? That's pretty funny.
yeah.
And
But
then you go
yeah,
like
because of the rounds it fires.
yeah,
But
and then you
what's
got the
also
grenade
interesting
launcher,
is
then breach cutter,
uh
then shard diffractor,
yeah,
which goes like in
yeah,
progression of destruction.
yeah, it's really interesting. What's cool about the shotgun that the engineer uses as well is it's not a standard pump action. It has pump action, but the pump action's what ejects the magazine.
Huh.
So it's a semi-auto shotgun, but if when they rack the slide back, the magazine comes out to make it
It's a
quicker.
magazine fed. which means it really
It's a mag-fed semi-auto shotgun, and what's interesting too, when they stick a new mag in and they rack the slide forward,
yeah,
it puts a shell into
it
the
literally
gun.
says its pump action mechanism is only used to eject the mag during a reload.
Yeah, it ejects the magazine, and then when you put the new mag in and rack it forwards, it puts the bolt forward, which puts a round in the chamber ready
So
to go.
they took a standard issue pump shotgun and turned it into a magazine fed.
Yeah, into a magazine fed semi-auto shotgun where the pump isn't used to like constantly load in fresh shells, but it's used for the reload.
Now another thing is the shield technology they have, which they have. So
Yeah.
Super Earth has a shield backpack and a shield generator, like a tower thing. But the dwarves have a shield grenade generator. Like they took a big tower that generates a shield and turned it into a grenade-sized thing.
It's like a frisbee to them.
Yeah, it's like, how do you considering the dwarf size, that is like the size of like a tennis ball, or like even smaller than that, like a handball size. Like that. Like,
well, when you realize as well that like, they don't need the shields to be overly strong. They just the strength is a really good thing for it because it can't be broken. Sort of thing by like gunfire or anything.
Yeah, all it really does is just like prevents like liquids from coming in, like the sludge and the acid and whatnot.
Yeah. It's that case too of you can still shoot through it.
And then there's the shield generator that the gunner has, which is the frisbee size one, which also gets an upgrade that repels the glyphids.
It's like the shield itself uses like.
Actually, no, it's not even an upgrade. It just does.
It just does. It's either even what it could be. If you notice in Helldivers, the shield generators in that they don't really have a hum to them that you hear in like a lot of other media and all that. If you see a shield, it's gonna have like a hum to like know it's running. Helldivers don't really have that, but theirs doesn't like push, like it doesn't keep the bugs away or anything.
Yeah, it doesn't keep the bugs out.
It just stops projectiles.
Yeah, it does the same thing that the shield and ZDR does, but the DRG ones give
it's got a hum to it.
Yeah, give a fear factor to the enemies that makes them leave the area and stand outside of it and waiting for it to dissipate.
Yeah, if you listen to the sound when it activates, it like after it activates, that initial sound of it like opening up and all that, you can then hear like a hum for the entire duration of it before it closes. That very faint hum could be a audio deterrent that annoys the bugs and keeps them away. Because if you notice as well, they don't like sit right on the edge of the bubble most of the time. They sit a bit back from it.
Which is a lot of the reason why I think that, because like considering the way that we've been getting fed weapons in Helldivers, they feel a lot similar to how in DRG it goes from like, oh, a normal gun to then you add upgrades. You keep evolving the gun further and further. Like we have the Punisher, then you have the Slugger, then you have the Breaker, and then you have the Incendiary Breaker. Which that feels a lot along the progressions of like how it would be in DRG. So I'm thinking that even if the dwarves don't want to hand over their tech directly, they're still being leaked out to Super Earth, which is then slowly taking their ideas. Considering the fact that we're getting
like Super Earth has to be like they've got to be learning of what DRG is doing with their weapons, and like more or less either improvising or asking DRG to make similar tech that can augment their weapons.
Exactly, because there's a very obvious thing where one massive thing I have to point out is the shard diffractor is very, very, very close to the goddamn, like, laser cannon and the quasar cannon. Now,
Hmm.
overclocks. That's right, overclocks. Shard
Yeah.
diffractor is a laser cannon.
Hmm.
So then, what did Super Earth do? They overclocked it. Oh god,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely hilarious. I'm an absolute riot. Oh my god, I'm so good
Yeah.
at this.
But
Hold on.
also, like, okay,
Fucking hold on.
even better. If you look at the okay, so the gunner gets access to like a pistol that more or less shoots what I think is something around like basically a chunk of rebar.
The heavy
But
revolver,
no, the railgun pistol that he has.
the coil gun.
Hmm.
Hold on, was it, yeah, coil gun.
Yeah, he's got like a coil gun pistol, which
Yeah,
depending, there's two ways that I see this. Either the Helldivers made theirs first,
the rail
their
cannon.
railgun with the ability to switch to an unsafe mode.
Yeah,
Because their whole like you obviously want to blow the shins off a damn bug all the time, so like you kind of want it to do a lot of damage. But then either the way that I think of it is the Helldivers group like Super F made their railgun first. DRG got wind of the idea and made a safer and more portable version of it. Or DRG made theirs first, Super F got wind of it and thought, hey, is there a way that we can make this stronger? So they turn it into a rifle instead of a pistol, and then add the ability to switch to an unsafe mode where you risk your own life to potentially do like a lot more damage with your shot.
yeah, but now that we're bringing up like them giving like what technologies the Helldivers had in like at that point, I'm thinking that the timeline events for Helldivers and DRG being connected is Helldivers 1 happened, then DRG was formed after Super Earth as they enslaved the Terminids, went to the Terminids' home planet, bombed it, and then created DRG to then go scout for resources on it. Because they thought, oh,
Yeah.
we bombed it, so there's nothing living there anymore. So we can just go get all the resources we want from there. And without any risk of like the Terminids doing whatever. And then they found out that the Glyphids were there after like, the first couple mining missions. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna hand you over some of our like gear that we have. And I'm thinking during the time of Helldivers 1 to Helldivers 2, all the base stratagem support weapons and from the first Warbond, not the first premium one. I'm not going to count the first premium Warbond right now. But the first Warbond and actually no, first premium Warbond does count because we do have a heavy revolver and a and whatnot in DRG, so I guess that would connect a lot better. So, like, with the first two Warbonds and all the support stratagems, they very much seem like they had that during the point, like, of the end of the First Galactic War and, like, to the full, like, after that, as, like, preparation for, like, keeping Terminids. So, I'm guessing that they gave some of those to DRG, and then the dwarves picked them apart and created their own. Which is why there are so many things that feel as if they've been built around what if we took one of these things that the Helldivers have, but then made it suited for us instead? Like you said, the rail cannon, or rail gun, turned into a more portable version. And then what I'm going to bring up is the Hurricane rocket system, Hurricane guided rocket system, which goes from their spear gun, which is the spear. It's called the spear gun, but it's a massive fucking rocket.
It's the spear rocket launcher. It's not the spear gun, but
isn't it? I don't even know. I keep getting everything confused with the names.
I don't know. The name of it, but itself is just spear.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just.
It's the spear. It's an anti-tank launcher.
Yeah. So
would be
they
like
took
of technical designation. It's like a real world like javelin missile.
Yeah, that, yeah. So they took the spear and then was like, okay, what if instead of one massive rocket, multiple smaller rockets, and then
Hmm.
boom, hurricane guided rocket system.
Yeah, which would end up using like infrared laser sort of thing to like mark where to go. Like you can't see a laser on the Hurricane
Yeah,
at all, but if like sure you might think, oh, how are they like knowing where to fly? You could have it as a infrared laser,
yeah, like or
or
like thermal camera, because like
yeah,
the glyphids are definitely like that. And
yeah,
another big like thing that is concerning for the DRG being connected to it with like the guns thing is that there are a lot of DRG guns that don't have any connections towards the Helldivers guns. And I know you could
hmm.
just say that they crafted them directly from like pure imagination, but they don't really like a lot of the guns seem to have a basis off of a previous existing like regular gun. Like
Yeah.
again, the flamethrower they turned into the cryo cannon. Like that makes sense. They substituted the
the
fire for
the
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 ice.
the Loki smart rifle could be a an augmentation of the Defender submachine gun from Helldivers.
Yeah, but
And
then
I
using
and
the rival tech as
hmm.
a enhancement, which
Or
makes
even their
sense. It
own
has a
tech.
doesn't it shoot? Oh no, that's not. No, that's the other one.
Hmm.
Hold up, wait. Actually, yeah, no, the smart rifle doesn't look like it has any like form of connection to the rival tech. But then
No,
that brings up the case. The plasma carbine definitely looks like it took a lot of things
at
from
least
the rival.
inspiration from Rival Tech.
Yeah, it definitely did. And with that being said, there is a definite and clear distinction between a rival tech inspired gun and a super earth inspired gun. The rival tech guns have a lot more of a how do I say like a
Angular
I
sort of design.
guess but more so too futuristic
Yeah.
considering the fact that the automatons on like in on the super on like on the actual like proper automatons, not the rival company, they're a lot more constructed to be fighting against humans, while
Yeah.
the rival tech ones are a lot more compacted and built to just like shoot off bugs and like just like there's like it's not that like high tech stuff.
Yeah.
But they still have the laser capabilities and whatnot, and the force field generation, which is surprising considering the fact that why haven't automatons used force fields? We have force fields, but the automatons don't.
Maybe maybe they see it as something more similar to uh like the fact that they could look at like humans shield generators. It's like okay, they can't take that much damage. If we shoot them a few times, they'll go down. So we wouldn't really need to bring in our own shields because we don't need to even that ground too much.
And the yeah, and like, the rival tech shields only like push things really.
Yeah, then they're not a proper
They're
they're
not
not
a
a proper
defensive
defensive
they're
shield.
not a defensive employment. They're more of a ranged like
A bug
knockback.
deterrent.
Yeah, bug deterrent.
They're more of a deterrent for like melee type, like just like bugs and stuff, similar to the shields that DRG uses, which that might not even be like the rival tech and all that, like thinking, hey, these guys are using shields and like getting past their defenses and that we should deploy our own shields. It's hey, these bugs are kind of tearing up our shit. We need like some sort of shields. They don't use ballistic, like they don't use weapons or anything, so we don't need it to be like able to stop ballistics or like redirect ballistics or anything. It's just we need it to defend against what these bugs are doing.
Yeah, to get them
Which
off.
is getting up close and attacking things.
Which brings up another like considerable questioning behind why does Super Earth very much limit their okay, how do I put this? They limit a lot of okay, it's this is very hard to describe in the way that I need to convey in a like sensical manner. But it's a lot of there's a need for them to fight off both the automatons and bugs, but in doing so, they aren't focusing on like this. We have weapons. A lot of the laser-based weapons don't work against the automatons as well as they do bugs. But the arc weapons work very well against automatons, but kind of slightly worse on bugs. Which means that they're like splitting their resources into weapons for automatons and weapons for bugs.
Yeah.
While
and
the dwarves, on as an example, they have very rudimentary weaponry. It's like, okay, this thing, it hits thing, makes thing die. What if we, like, make it do more of that, but then add, like, a laser, and then, like, more damage because we can. It's like, armor piercing and laser. It's like, laser kill bug, armor piercing kill robot, armor piercing laser. Boom.
So
Both solved.
here's one interesting thing as well. AoE type weapons work well on both bugs and automatons.
Yes, that's why there's a lot of like.
That's a given. They're AoE type weapons. Precision weapons, however, are clearly defined between bug killers and bot killers.
Exactly.
They're clearly defined. Like if you want to kill a lot of bots, you probably take something like the anti-material rifle, where you can like focus your shots really well on weak spots, which on the bots are very prominent because they've got a clear humanoid style head. Where with the bugs, because there's a lot more of them, you probably, if you do want to go more precision type stuff, you want something that can put out a lot of damage really quickly and be able to switch targets really quickly. So something like the shoulder mounted laser cannon would be more what you would go for. Where in DRG, you've got precision-based weapons which work well against both bugs and bots.
And the AoE.
And then the AoE weapons actually seem more geared to taking on bugs.
Because like a lot of the bots are more either like latched into a ceiling of the sniper drones or moving around scouting, like the ones that like roll around and one the patrollers. Like they're a lot more like mining is their primary thing, and defend against bugs is again their primary thing, because I don't think they've really gotten the whole dwarves are a threat thing yet, because they're like, oh, it's just like a tiny human, just we can just not
but
deal with that.
if you look at the weapon, like the loadouts that the dwarves bring in as well, they tend to have a weapon that's more of a precise type weapon, along with a AoE or group shredder type weapon.
Yeah, like Engineer's a good example. It has a smart rifle, which is a lot more of a precision against like certain targets, because it's a can like lock on, and then you have grenade launcher or breach cutter.
Gunner's a good one as well. He's got the minigun, he's got the rocket launcher, he's got the big auto cannon as well.
He's also got the short shot secondaries, sidearms. He got like the heavy revolver, the burst pistol, the coil gun. It's a lot of they have equipped for both sides, while the Helldivers are splitting amongst themselves to get either side of the,
Yeah,
like, things. Like, you have to do a lot more planning around your, like, weaponry because not, they're not embracing. This is gonna sound absolutely. This is gonna sound dumb as hell. In their attempt to use the dwarves to their benefit, they then ignored what made the dwarves actually beneficial.
which is the fact that they can very
Their
much like they will
ingenuity,
take their ingenuity, their skill, the fact that they think ahead, they bring in weapons and equipment fit for every situation they can be in.
they're resourceful.
Or like, yeah,
They're just how it's a perfect thing. They're mining people. What's the one thing that is so dangerous with our minds? The unpredictability. So
yeah. So
they
if
prepare for
everything
everything.
is unpredictable, everything is predictable.
Exactly. So all you got to do is prepare
Yeah,
for the most likely outcome. And in the
yeah.
most
Because
likely
once you,
outcome, you're gonna be attacked by
yeah,
bugs, and there's robots everywhere. So just prepare for both. Like,
yeah, prepare for both at the same time.
bring an
It's that
AoE
case
and bring
of
a precision. It's that easy.
yeah, it's that case too of with that whole thing of like once you predict that something will be unpredictable, that thing becomes predictable.
Exactly.
There's no oh, but what if this happens? What if that happens? If you predict it to be unpredictable, it is predictable by definition.
Which is again what Super Earth is very much ignoring is the fact that they're treating this like in the first
Yeah,
Galactic War. When I saw like the progression of Helldivers 1, it felt off paced to me. I don't know.
yeah,
And what is that was Super Earth's first Galactic War. They
yeah,
had only like I'm guessing Super Earth's like lore behind it is like the same as like our real world. They've had wars with each other and like fighting
yeah.
people who think the same way as you, who are trying to be unpredictable in the attempt of outsmarting someone is what they're used to. But the automatons are very straightforward. They just make laser gun, kill human, good.
Pretty much,
Tank,
yeah.
kill human,
That's
good.
that's the unpredictable part of the automatons is they work in the most predictable way possible, but because you think, oh, they're a humanoid type entity that like can think like a human, it would be that case of, oh, okay, they're going to try to be unpredictable, so you're going to predict the unpredictability,
Exactly. But
but
they're
because
not
they
but they're
play
not that
predictably,
smart. They
but
only
because yeah,
they
because they play
just do.
predictably, yeah, because they play predictably, they kick your ass anyway. Because
Exactly.
like always expect the unexpected, but if the unexpected is the expected,
Then
you're
why
fucked.
prepare? Why should you prepare for something that isn't going to
Yeah.
happen?
But then it's that case as well of going back to like how diverse and all that the loadouts of the dwarves are compared to the Helldivers. The bugs have flying enemies. You need to be precise to hit them. Like, sure, it's like some weapons will still work. Like a flamethrower, if they decide to get close enough to you, could just burn the sky. But it's that case though of like what's something like a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher going to do to them? If you're a crack shot, you might be able to hit them directly, but at most you'll get a couple per shot, and at worst you won't even hit them.
Mm.
You need precision weapons to counterbalance your AoE potential. Take a look at
I just realized
yeah
another massive thing is the fact that the Glyphids and Terminids have one massive difference is the
hmm?
fact that Glyphids don't have the same like what is it the reason why Super Earth is killing the Terminids is for their like juices.
Yeah, for their oils and stuff that they naturally secrete.
But do they though? Because if the Glyphids and the Terminids did come from the same places, then why aren't the Glyphids like that? And I'm thinking because of the reason as to why they like as to like why the Terminids have their oil is because they've been everywhere. The Terminids have gone through like so many planets. They've their body structure has adapted to so many different food sources that it's all just smashed together and created oil.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's either a result of them being bombed and forced off their home planet, or the fact that they were like different planet faring in the first place. Which brings up a very good thing of the Terminids that were off on different planets, even during Helldivers 1, weren't the same Terminids that were on Hoxie's surface. Because of the because the ones on Hoxie's had the same environment that it's always had for their like existence, but the ones that were other things were like getting different like food chains to go through and whatnot. So it's the fact of were the Terminids ever really a threat from their home planet, or were they
Yeah, it's an
forced,
interesting thing
or were
too.
they forced to evolve to the point that they are now because of us? And that brings up why why Super Earth needs to just stop for a second and think. Which is why, again, honestly, I just realized that at this point we're just dogging how Super Earth's stupid as hell and how the dwarves is just way better than them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, screw trying to connect them. We're just like trying to dog on Super Earth for just being dumb as hell. Like, I get it. When one tries to be their opponent, to outsmart their opponent, they think like their opponent, which then makes them not think like themselves, which is what Super Earth's doing. But the dwarves, they're just thinking like dwarves.
Yeah. They've Super Earth tries to predict everything that their opponent will do. Where the dwarves will think like themselves. They'll think like dwarves. They'll go in, they'll mine, they'll kill bugs, maybe bots, depends on basically who's there, and they'll get the job done. The way that the dwarves think is get the job done. Like at like whatever the cost, but no one is left behind.
It's a very much of you. I think first and foremost for the dwarves is enjoy yourself, and the second most is get the job done.
I almost feel like get the job done is the main thing, where like the secondary thing of like get the job done, but hey, you guys are free to fuck around and dick off if you want.
Yeah.
Like your primary goal is to get the job done. Your secondary goal is to have fun. If the job is done, you can have fun.
But then now I want to move back into the connections of it because like again we got so sidetracked because of just how much this is like you can make so many comparisons to the point where it makes it seem as if Super Earth is just dumb for the sake of being dumb, which is what we've done. And I that's not really like what we're trying to argue here, but it does make a lot of sense. But why is it the fact that the automatons are able to get to like different how do I say this? Different levels of like the way the automatons function is a very rudimentary but also sophisticated way. What the hell was that?
Just me plugging something in, don't worry.
But like when you think about it, the automatons are smart, but in a way you wouldn't understand. Because, like,
Yeah.
if we're going after the rival company is the automatons, then they somehow thought that, oh yeah, like, the bugs, they're a problem. Even though we haven't encountered any of them, we know they're a problem and they're a threat. So
Yeah.
before we fight them, we'll go to their planet, take their resources, and collect data for us. Like, that's smart because most people wouldn't think about, like, if you were like in a war, if you knew you were going into a war, why wouldn't you like learn everything you could about the enemy before you
Yeah.
fought them?
Here's actually one interesting thing I just remembered as well. It is, I think it's more or less proven by like transmission sort of things in like the lore and all that from the automatons. They're trying to free the cyborgs
Yeah.
who are currently held up on their home planet as mining slaves. And here's one interesting thing that I'm thinking of. Like, they want that as their own, like, Super Earth wants that as their own, like, financial gain sort of thing. Their own, like, small workforce that, if they grow it enough, could potentially allow them, like, will, like, give them the sort of freedom to say to, like, Deep Rock Galactic and all that, DRG, hey, we managed to get our own system going, you guys are free to go, sort of thing, do what you want. But what's interesting about it as well is that if that is the sort of case, DRG is kept in the dark. And the reason why they would be being kept in the dark about this sort of thing is if our theory of the dwarves being mining slaves for Super Earth is a sort of thing that we're going with, if DRG learns that Super Earth is doing the same thing that they did to them, but to the cyborgs, DRG might start having their own hand in this war.
Damn.
DRG knows that their materials are going to Super Earth, but they don't know for what reason. I don't think DRG knows that Super Earth is at war. At least not at war with the automatons. At war with the Terminids, I can understand them being informed about that.
Considering that's the home planet that they're on.
Yeah, but not being told about their war against the automatons, or at least not the reason why the automatons are fighting, is a very interesting thing that we've got to bring up.
I think they know that the automatons exist, and that's why they're actively collecting data from them.
But they don't know why the automatons are fighting.
But they don't know why.
I think Super Earth has kept them in the dark about that. It's like the one thing that they don't know is the reason the automatons are fighting, which is to free their creators, their masters, the cyborgs, from mining enslavement, from being forced laborers in mining camps.
Yeah.
Which, again, could potentially be the same thing Super Earth did to the dwarves before a deal was struck. Which brings, and like, this starts bringing up a whole slew of options and questions into the mix of these two worlds are clearly connected in several ways. But how far do you want to stretch it? There's too little that we know, and too much we can learn from comparing these two games. And for any sake, if this conversation gets popular somehow,
God, I hope it doesn't.
But if it does, this is going to strike a massive conversation in probably both communities.
Like, connected or not, these two games could very much learn a lot from each other.
Absolutely. Fucking-lutely. And God, for all we bloody know, if this does get popular, who knows? Maybe they'll start collaborating on this shit.
Yeah, like it. It's definitely
Yeah.
it's definitely a thing where the Helldivers devs and the Deep Rock Galactic devs, they're very much like they're in it for the community suggestions and the fan needs.
Yeah. Which is why that I'm thinking, if this gets popular, if this conversation gets popular, if people talk about it, will some sort of collaboration, will a sort of confirmation, or some like even a minor confirmation that they're set in either the same universe or similar universes comes to light, it's going to become very interesting for everyone. And I feel like a collaboration of this scale with two absolute massive behemoths of like indie games, like more or less indie games, I should say, is just the case of like they could take the devs of both games could take this so far.
Like
They can work like
all the cards are in their hands. They just have to play on it.
yeah, but it's the case as well of like we might be the first people to start thinking about this, the first people to record stuff like this and like actually get it out to people.
I know there are a
So
couple videos of like, oh, they're connected, but they don't really go as
they
far as we
don't go
do.
in deep as we are right now.
They don't start thinking the philosophies of man as we
Yeah,
do.
but it's that case of, you mentioned the cards are in their hands. I don't even think they know the cards are there. I don't think either game developing teams, I don't think either of the teams of either of the games know that the cards to collaborate on this stuff are there. Like, they obviously are, because there's so many comparisons you can make, and like you can take the lore that is already in both games and start taking it even further.
This really does feel like a very obvious direction for both like stories, but the thing is, if a collaboration is made between the two games, there's a big risk of they'll lose their like independency from each other. Like I know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up something, and I hate to bring this up. Fortnite.
Yes, no. Fortnite depends way too much on its collaborations.
Exactly. Fortnite's original storyline for the first chapter was perfect. It was
the first chapter was amazing, and they brought everything really well into it.
The only collaboration
once they hit the second chapter, they more focused a bit more towards collaborations. Yeah. As they got further along,
the one
it's more
main
and more
collaboration that happened in Fortnite Chapter 1 was the Marvel event, which was just for Endgame. Like, it was just like a one and done game mode, that's it. Nothing came from the story of the game. Nothing in the story of Fortnite
it was a one and done
connected.
fun little story that you can just dick around and have fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't impact the actual story of the game, but these later collaborations in the later chapters have impacted the game.
Exactly.
Have impacted the story, and in my honest opinion, have made Fortnite such a shit story game.
And the facts of the matter is, when they chose to focus so much on collaborations and how they could just fit it in, they neglected what made Fortnite good. They neglected the guns. They neglected the actual movement. They neglected every single mechanic except for what makes them the most money.
Yes.
Which is why...
Like, instead of fixing so many weapons, especially in Chapter 1, instead of fixing so many of them, they vaulted them. They lock them away behind a barrier where you cannot access them besides your own custom sandbox mode,
Which
which
is
wasn't even a thing initially.
which in chapter 1 that was a massive like hit to the enjoyment of the game, but it never like it never made the game bad for it. Like, yeah, I
It was in the
hated
best interest of the community, and they brought most of those weapons back after changing them.
yeah, like they did it out. They did it to better the community, and in doing so, it made a lot of sense considering the amount of backlash that was being like from the bruh that was coming from the weapons being too unbalanced, and for them to vault it was good. But then in recent times, they have created so many new weapons that it seems like that instead of remaking old weapons that they've thrown in the vault, they're just making new ones to do the same thing and then meeting the same fate.
Yeah.
That's why Helldivers and DRG having collaboration that isn't like a non-canon part, which with like if it did collab and they did like like it was like this all along, like how we described it was what happened all along, that would absolutely destroy both games.
Yeah.
Because what do you do from then point other than it has to merge into one game? Otherwise, it just won't work anymore. Because
it's that sort of case of, as I said earlier, even if they just say that the two games are part of similar universe, not the same universe, but similar universes where similar stuff is happening, but with its own like completely unique differences and all that, then it's that case of like you can like it will be public to everyone that you can acknowledge that these two games share similarities, but they're not set in the same universe. They won't. The two games will not collide.
a good way to yeah, you're right. It's like if they're in similar universes where events along the lines have happened, but they aren't in. Okay, Jesus Christ, this is getting more and more insane. Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel has alternate universes which have the same events but taking a different turn of events over the course of certain things.
Into the Spider-Verse and like the
Yeah.
newer Spider-Man movies and all that, they go very heavily into that, like the whole idea of canon events.
Exactly.
Where there's a set like thing, there's a set selection of things that are almost guaranteed to happen. Like they can still be changed and all that, as you can see with like Miles Morales and all that, where he defies some of the canon events, but nothing bad happens. He's in a world where the canon events don't entirely apply. Like the events that can happen, but he's not stuck to the same path as everyone else. Nobody is. So, like that whole like enslaving the dwarven race and all that, and then they split off via a deal. That could be. You could even make that a part of just the Helldiver universe, where then in DRG's universe you can make it where they had struck the deal well before any of that happened. They had a deal or something similar, like a mutual agreement sort of thing, and they had split off from the Helldiver universe at like an earlier time sort of thing. So you've got this separation where you can look at both worlds and be like, okay, this happened, but in this world, this happened instead.
Yeah, it's a
like,
parallel dimension,
a parallel universe,
but a choice. It's like one choice branches off into two possibilities, which is which is basically what you're going off of here. Is that one choice, one major factor in both universes happened, and one went in a direction that the other didn't, as a way of branching into their own two universes. Which would keep their independency, but still allowing the connections to exist.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing of like they could make subtle references. Like maybe the name of the company is different. Maybe in DRG's universe, it's not called Super Earth; it's just Earth, or you could even call it just the Sol System, based off the name of the sun, sort of thing. Or you could even take a Warframe approach where you have the Origin System
Yeah,
as
but
its
like
name. Like
I
there's
do
like yeah,
like
there's so many references that both games could make to each other with a connection like that, but they could change it just enough to show they are connected in ways, but they're separate universes with a split off time. They split off at one point into the two games that you know of.
I do think that is one way that would make it so that it wouldn't like ruin both games. But
Yeah, and it's just one of 100 different ways.
doing exactly that would lessen the impact of it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it would
it
definitely
wouldn't majorly impact either game because, like again, like you can go out and publicly say, "Hey, I believe these two games are connected," and people will either agree or disagree based on their own reasonings.
I think a better way of doing it would 100% be how in a lot of games that have like Easter eggs and references to other games while not being connected exactly, just like maybe like they could just like chuck in what's it called because we don't have this since we don't have this weapon in Helldivers, they could actually hold on, which is the one I'm thinking about? Or these two guns are so similar, man.
You can even have it as like a
Yeah,
destroyed version sort of thing, like
no, like
a
I'm
like
saying like
a destroyed like what I'm thinking is like a DRG weapon that was taken from the dwarves, but then it was destroyed, and like you can very rarely find it when you load into a mission. You can find it in like hidden spots.
No, I don't really think that would be like that good, example, because like again, that's a major problem with the break action shotgun. The break action shotgun's so good, except you can't get a stratagem for it.
No,
Which
it's
sucks.
it's not even that good though.
It actually is pretty.
Like,
Actually, is pretty good. Like it's.
I mean, it does good single target damage, but it's the fact of you try and use it against a larger group of enemies.
Oh yeah, one is larger enemies. Yeah, but like a lot of the reason why the senator is so good is because if it's like, oh, your main thing's out of boom, just like pow pow, like like the break action is good because if you're being chased by like one of those like big like armor guys or one of the chainsaw guys, you can just like
you just aim for the glowing bit, fire both shots,
exactly,
and they drop like a sack of potatoes.
But what if they just like add a minigun to Helldivers and just call it the Lead Storm high capacity gun or something, whatever the fuck. I don't even know. I'm not good enough to make up a dumb stupid name like that.
Yeah, or
like
even change the name slightly, like make it the Lead Stream or something.
Yeah, like having a name and having a name similarity of a weapon that's in DRG, because like a lot of the weapons have like there's like the Bulldog heavy revolver, the Thunderhead thing, the Deep Core, the what's a good one? The Bolt Shark.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing could very much be like put into Helldivers and then made in their own fashion.
Or even better, you could even make it like the Lock 1 Smart Rifle. Smart Rifle is just what its designation is as like a weapon type.
Yeah.
The Lock 1 is its designation as a weapon.
Yeah.
So you could even make it where you could have like an SMG added to Helldivers, which would be like a 3-word name for it, but when you shorten it down into 3 letters, it's LOK. it's a lock.
I think adding a weapon from Helldivers into DRG and then vice versa would my main idea for that would like it could be I don't think they wouldn't give a weapon to DRG though, but this is a hypothetical. I
No.
think adding the arc thrower to DRG would be the most suitable of the weapons from Helldivers.
Yes. I feel like if you were to take any weapon from Helldivers and put it in DRG, the arc thrower would definitely be one that you would think of, because they already have laser weapons. You don't need to worry about adding more of them. They've got ballistic weapons, they're already set on that. They've even got plasma weapons, which I don't know if Helldivers will take a route into potentially adding a plasma weapon or two.
Probably
I mean, we're close enough.
I
mean, we're close
will
enough
exactly.
with a version of like the version of the pump action shotgun.
The arc shotgun is like a lobbing ball of energy.
Yeah, like it's still an arc weapon.
It's close enough to plasma weapon.
It's arc in a way that it's close to plasma.
Yeah.
So,
but like for Deep Rock to have a collaboration with Helldivers, it would probably have to be a like cosmetic slash like
yeah, even like a cape with like a pickaxe on it.
Yeah, like
that's all you need to add to Helldivers, and you've already got a DRG reference.
Yeah.
Or an any mining game reference in reality. Like come on.
I think
a pickaxe on it. Like,
I think
you can't pin it down to one specific thing unless you make that pickaxe in the DRG style.
No, I definitely could pick a logo from Deep Rock Galactic that would fit perfectly on a cape for collaboration. The Deep Dive logo.
That would actually be perfect.
Because it's a dwarf with a drill for a beard.
I just realized actually as well. You could literally just, instead of Deep Dive, you could literally just make it say Hell Dive instead and change the logo slightly. And
no,
bam.
I think just having the Deep Dive logo with just mining into the ground as the cape design would be absolutely just perfect, and it's like a one-off collaboration. Yeah. It's like, oh, yo, like this game's like really cool. It's like,
yeah, it's like, hey, some people thought that, hey, these games might be connected in some way.
And
we're just gonna joke around, have a bit of a collaboration on it with this sick as cosmetic, and then you could even add like a Helldiver style helmet to
for DRG. Like, there's already like the Marine Corp helmet in DRG, the Hell Corp helmet.
Yeah, there you go. Like
boom.
That simple collaboration. Add a Deep Dive logo inspired cape to Helldivers, and then a Helldiver inspired helmet to DRG.
Yeah,
there's your collaboration done.
That would be,
and it's a cosmetic item. Like it's a cosmetic item. It's not going to impact how game plays.
Yeah, that would honestly be like the absolute most perfect way for them to acknowledge each other and the fandoms that like love both games enough to connect them.
Yeah, and it's way better than adding a Helldiver weapon to DRG, because like if you do add the arc thrower, who's getting the arc thrower? And what are the other three classes are getting?
Yeah, and that would like give a massive divide on the equipment balancing, considering the fact you get 3 primaries, 3 secondaries, and that's it. You get anything else.
But it's that case too of like there was a time where you had 3 primaries, 2 secondaries for every class.
Yeah.
And it didn't impact balance too much because the new weapons that were added were balanced around the other primary weapons. Same thing for the secondary weapons. They're all balanced around the other secondaries. None of them, especially if they're overclocks, none of them are worse than others. Take Scout, for instance, in DRG. You've got the shotgun, which is great at just nuking things like Praetorians, but if you get the special powder overclock, all of a sudden it's another mobility tool outside of your bloody grappling hook.
Now that's why.
But then, even better, if you take the Zukov SMGs, they do the same thing. You can rip through Praetorian weak spots really bloody easily, but you can also get cryo minelets on them, which turn them into more of an AoE weapon.
Yeah. That's why if I had to pick if I had to pick a primary, a secondary, and a throwable from Deep Rock, for throwable I would easily, easily pick the Stun Sweeper. I would easily pick the Stun
The
Sweeper.
boomerang.
Yeah, the boomerang.
Yeah, I was either thinking the boomerang or the impact axe.
I don't think Helldive would use an impact axe. In terms of
I mean, they
like,
might. I mean, they've got impact grenades.
yeah,
It's the case of the impact axe. Like, to balance the impact axe, you can make it where you can't get them back via grenade caches, but in turn you get like two more of them and you can pick them back
in
up.
my opinion, the only two throwables that would work in Helldivers is definitely the Stun Sweeper and the Pheromone Canister. Those
Yeah,
two are like the only
the
ones I
pheromone
would.
canister. No,
It's
okay. Swap the pheromone canister for the decoys.
oh wait, isn't it the same?
No. So the pheromone canister is you mark a
Oh
target
yeah,
and
never
all the
mind.
bugs will target that
I
one
thought the Pheromone
target.
Canister was the decoy one. Oh yeah,
No,
the lure that the
the
engineer
decoy.
has.
Yeah, the decoy tosses out like a hologram.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, the decoy and
Yeah,
the stun sweeper definitely the two ones I think would probably work the most.
yeah.
Now for primaries, I do think that the lead storm is probably the best bet. But if I had to pick
Lead. Okay,
any,
honestly, lead storm as a support weapon would be pretty nice, but for a
yeah,
general purpose like proper primary weapon to equip, maybe the M1000.
yeah,
Because you've already got snipers, and you can make this as a mix of
it's an M1
the
Garand. Like
yeah, it's an M1 Garand. You can make it
it's
where
a
it's like
semi-auto
the
rifle,
snipers. Yeah, you can make it where it's like the marksman rifle that you get,
but it's got like a
but
better,
you but you could remove the scope from it and just have
yeah,
like a regular like red dot sight like what the assault rifles and SMGs have.
yeah. It's just an M1 Garand. Like it's not that hard
Yeah,
to use and
like eight
incorporate.
shots. Yeah, it's like 8 shots reload, 8 shots
Yeah,
reload.
it's not that
Simple
hard.
as that.
Yeah, for a secondary, oh, hold on, wait,
Burst pistol. I think
uh,
having a burst pistol would be very interesting to
hold
have
up,
because
give me a second.
if you think about it, we've got what now like with the shit that's in the game currently, you've got the standard issue semi-auto pistol, a machine pistol, the revolver,
Yeah,
and now a laser pistol.
yeah.
Having a burst pistol would be a really good introduction because the fact that it will split the roles between the high fire rate and quick DPS of the SMG secondary, as well as the accuracy and solid damage output of the semi-auto pistol.
Also, I like how just the senator is just like, yo, I'm just the best because I have armor piercing.
It's not even the best, which is the issue. The like it's slow to reload, but it does a lot of damage.
I mean, yeah, the stock is pretty good.
The machine pistol is actually, I think, like the main one that people use because like you've got 4 extra magazines when you drop in if you've got the booster, which pretty much everyone runs the booster to max out
Yeah,
all your stuff when you drop in.
senator's got like what
Yeah.
40 backup round, I think, or like that. Yeah,
You have 46 total ammo
yeah,
because you have
46 total ammo.
six in the gun, 40 spare.
Yeah, which is really good because you can like savor every single bullet, which is why I love those.
Yeah,
Which is why I love round fed instead of magazine fed. But
yeah.
that's a
It's also
personal.
why the pump shotgun's such a popular choice for people is because since it's round fed, you don't have to worry about constantly managing your ammo.
Now, if we like, I don't want to add such a standard like secondary in my opinion. I think the coil gun might be pretty good.
The coil gun could definitely be interesting, like a weaker version of the rail gun, but you could have it where like it's only really used for like light to medium targets.
Yeah, instead of heavy to medium.
Yeah. You could even have it like where it keeps its like where it doesn't have like the extreme armor piercing of the actual railgun, but it's got at least decent armor piercing.
Like if it would have the same thing as a regular railgun, where it'd have a stable and unstable. Well, the unstable basically means that the normal railgun instead of like a better railgun, like the railgun does.
Yeah.
So it'd be like the normal one. Then you can have a on-demand railgun, but also have a weaker version of it at the same time because it's got both versions, which would be really good because you can have a semi-railgun with another support secondary weapon. Sorry, secondary, bro.
You could even have it as well where in like the unsafe fire mode for the coil gun, instead of killing you instantly, it could be like it does like half your max health in damage and gives you like bleeding.
I
So,
think
like,
half is a bit much. I think like a 25% of your HP, and like it would.
I mean, to
would,
be
like,
fair,
jam for a bit.
Yeah.
Like that would probably be a bit more balanced because it's a weaker version. Because like the unstable, I get it. It's like supposed to be the normal railgun, but it's a secondary. Don't give that much punishment. I think having it blow up and then jam for a certain amount of time would probably a lot balance it. So you because like the unstable railgun itself, like the chance for it to blow up in your face is very low in my opinion.
If you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing. So I think having a higher chance of the unstable to backfire on the pistol would probably balance it out for having a lesser consequence.
Yeah. Or you can even have it where it's like if it does if you do overcharge and all that, it will either like sometimes it will just jam, sometimes it will explode and damage you. So it's the case of like, yeah.
This entire goddamn conversation has ping-ponged back and forth from like why the Glyphids and Terminators are the same, why the Automatons are the rival tech, why DRG was made by Super Earth, to then Super Earth's fucking stupid and DRG's PogChamp, to collaboration between the two would either go really good or really bad, to now we're just power scaling.
More or less, yeah.
Like...
And honestly, personally, I almost feel like we should about end it like at least pretty soon. Like we've been talking for a while.
God, I'm going to fucking hate making this into a thing with like bits and editing and pictures and lights and shiny things to keep people's attention.
Yeah, the animation of it.
But that's just how it do be. I want to make a good video because I want people to see this because I'm.
It's like you want people to see it, but you don't want it to get popular.
Yeah, but if this does get popular, I'm going to say this right now to myself. I'm going to fucking make this. I'm not going to wait a month before I make this fucking thing. I've waited so goddamn long.
Yeah.
I'm not
I just
going
thought
to
of
slack
something
off.
really funny we could do as well.
What?
If it just in case it does get popular, because you're recording this entire conversation.
Yeah.
You could, instead of like just deleting the audio file, keep it, and if it does get popular,
bro, why would I delete the audio file? I don't delete files unless they're at least like 3 or 4 months old.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. But like just in case, just make sure you don't delete it, because if it does get popular, we could potentially like upload a bloopers reel to like my channel or some shit. So like you're the actual like podcast, like animation and everything. I'm just the bloopers.
that would be so good. It would be great. But like,
It'd be fucking hilarious.
The thing is, I have to actually make this, and that requires me to sit down, not get distracted, and make something for once. Which
set yourself to invisible, because besides me sending shit that I think you definitely enjoy, I will barely talk to people that are offline. Unless I know you're online and you're just set to offline. But if I know you're trying to concentrate on shit like that, then I will absolutely just let you have, like, just let you chill there, do your own thing. Even change your custom status on Discord to say that you're, like, editing shit.
Yeah. The thing that I do, which is a struggle for me, is I can't like record a video and edit in the same day. I have to take.
No, you would not be able to.
No, I'm not that good at this. I have to take at least the rest of the day to do what I want, then sit down for an entire day and edit.
Yeah, it's like you've got the recording and all that, and then you want to spend the rest of the day doing your own thing, dicking around, having some fun before getting stuck in this.
The work.
Anyway. But, yeah.
Alright,
It's just
time,
that case of-
time to think of an outro for the video, I guess.
I don't fucking know, man. This, honestly, I will just say, just sitting down and just, like, talking shit about two games that we both love, and, like, trying to compare them in, like, basically any way we fucking can and coming up with our own conclusions. Honestly, very fucking fun.
Yeah, this is great.
Very fun.
I might have to make this a regular thing. Like that, like something, not like a regular thing. Like, if we ever
not regular, but
no,
like
if we have
maybe a once a month type thing.
Yeah, if we have a like a subject matter to talk upon, then we could do another podcast of this, and then
I mean,
like,
for all I fucking know, we could literally just sit here and talk about Warframe lore or some shit.
Oh god, no.
Even better, I'll walk you through the entirety of the Guilty Gear lore.
I already know the entirety of the Guilty Gear lore. I hate it.
Yeah, it's just no, but seriously, this whole thing is fun. Anyone potentially watching this, honestly, probably doesn't really matter when. Ideas, and we might do it. Who the fuck knows? It depends how we feel. It depends if it's actually something we want to talk about. It depends if we can be fucked or not.
True. But yeah, we have to make an outro. We can't just like.
I thought that was the outro.
No, it wasn't the outro. That went on. That rambled off again. You can't just ramble off in an outro. Then they'll like confuse people. You have to make a definitive, clear-cut ending.
It's not like we're talking about shit we were talking about before.
Yeah, but like, that's not okay. I get that. I get what you mean. But like, it's just the flow of the video. Like, this is why I love. This is why I hate content warning. Is because it's just like the flow of the video is so fucking hard to keep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. In all honesty, this was fun.
Yeah.
This was definitely fun.
For the first of a hopefully continuing podcast. It was really fun discussing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's a good thing.
It's good.
It's a good concept to think about, and a real thought provoker for the future of both games. And on that note, it's a good time that we just end off this now.
We've been talking for too long.
Anyway, thanks for watching this extremely what is probably extremely long and tedious to listen to podcast with tons of just sidetracking, but you know, that's just how it is sometimes. But yeah, this was
like, subscribe, bell, I don't know, YouTube
like
stuff.
sub bell, or I'm gonna come to your house and then I'm gonna force you to listen to this on repeat for 3 days straight. I will do it. I'm coming after you.
All right.